right, good morning, everyone. Good morning to the trustees of charities community. I welcome you all to another wonderful edition of our quarterly program, the Pavilion Dialogue. Quickly, I will give a brief description of what trustees of charities is about for those of us who are just joining in, and the Pavilion Dialogue. In 2004, PTB, Pastor Tuni Bakari, birthed an initiative involving professionals across industries in Nigeria under the name the Pavilion Dialogue. The purpose of this dialogue was to help these professionals reason together and to learn about the intricate links between values, virtues, and valuation, how this applies to real life industry practitioners in challenging environments, and how they can win by becoming trustees of true riches who rise by lifting others to success and significance. This pavilion dialogue is non denominational. Today, few members of the original dialogue who have risen to the top as captains of industries are ready to use this experience to change the culture and dominate the various mountains of influence. But this time, they are regrouping to prepare a generation for the task ahead that will imbibe these values, these virtues into a scalable institution that can meet the current youth or the current youth challenge of this our current time. It's a movement, and this movement is called the Trustees of True Riches. Today, on our quarterly session, we are having a distinguished and well seasoned guest. Her name is Mrs. Bukola Smith, FCA. She's an accomplished banking professional with over 30 years of experience. She currently leads FSDH Merchant Bank as its managing director and chief executive officer, positioning the bank as a preferred financial partner for major engagements in Nigeria. Before her role at FSDH Merchant Bank, she served as the Executive Director, Business Development at FCMB, where she was responsible for over 200 branches across the country, public service sector, the business banking, agriculture, and transaction banking divisions. With expertise in strategy, innovation, and commercial leadership, she is dedicated to both professional excellence and philanthropic endeavors, serving as a mentor to several young women and also teenagers in public schools. Mrs. Bukola is involved in the children and teens ministry in her church and has dedicated over 30 years to investing in the lives of children. As a dedicated mother of three children, she prioritizes supporting initiatives that cultivate a brighter future for the next generation. Please, without much ado, would you help me welcome Mrs. Bukola Smith?
Thank
You're
you
welcome, ma'am.
thank you, Benga. I
Yes,
hope
ma'am.
you can hear me well.
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're dialing in from. It is a pleasure to be here with you today, and I hope that as we go on in the conversation today, we would all benefit richly from the engagement. First and foremost, I would like to thank the convener of um, this community and all the members of the community for the work that you are doing. All of these do not go unnoticed, and I know that your impact will definitely be seen, and you will achieve all the goals that this network sets out to achieve. So today I'm going to be speaking, and I hope you can see my slides. Brilliant. So today I'm going to be speaking about a topic that I love, and it is the growth mindset. And I'm sure a number of us have heard of growth mindsets, but we'll then be taking it from a different dimension. And then we will, at the end of this session, take questions. And I really do hope that at the end of this, some lives will be positively impacted and people would have a rethink about their way of life and the things that they do. So, what exactly is mindsets? So, mindsets really are the way we perceive challenges, failures, and different abilities that we have. And it really looks at our thoughts, our emotions, our beliefs, and all of how all of this positively influence how we navigate through the world. You know, the world is quite a challenging place, but depending on what your mindset is, you can actually see the world from different lenses, as lenses of a lot of opportunities or lenses from, things that are not so good. And in exploring these mindsets, there are two perspectives, and they are the fixed mindsets and the growth mindsets. So we'll be talking about this today. And a growth mindset is a mindset which views life from a separate lens, a lens where you're saying that I can achieve a lot of things. I will try. I won't give up. Things might appear difficult now, but I'm willing to push the boundaries and ensure that I can do better. So the growth mindset is constantly looking for areas of improvement. While the fixed mindset says, look, you know what? I can't do this. I give up. I will fail if I try. Some people in their fixed mindsets already think, look, I'm already doing extremely well. What's the point? Why do I need to even try more? Work is good enough. I don't need to improve. And those are two different perspectives. With people with those fixed mindsets, you also would describe them as people that resist change. They are afraid of change and afraid of development. I'm sure that some of us are already thinking, I know some people in this space. They are very cautious. They avoid risk in everything that they do. A fixed mindset person would really only want to concentrate on their strength, which in itself is not a bad thing. You already know the things that you're good at. You want to leverage your expertise for the best outcomes. But perhaps today I'll be challenging you and asking, could you possibly do it better than what you've done? Could you achieve a greater level of excellence beyond where you are now? You're successful, but could even achieve a lot more. Are you willing to challenge the status quo and push those boundaries? And if you are that kind of person, then you're moving into being a growth mindset person. The fixed mindset person is just always consumed with proving themselves. It's really, really consuming. It takes all the efforts. They say, I'm constantly evaluating myself. I want to achieve the best. And instead of looking at the process to achieving that success, you're just pushing yourself and saying, look, I'm either a failure or a success. And you're not looking at the journey towards that success. So that's what a fixed mindset person is looking at. You're looking at failure as a limitation to your abilities rather than failure being a stepping stone. Okay. On the other hand, a growth mindset person sees failure as an opportunity to grow. It's constantly looking for ways he or she can improve. So you're learning, you're saying constantly learning. I'm upskilling. I want to get better than where I am now. I won't give up even if those challenges are there. I'm thinking, how can I go beyond the abilities that I think I was born with and continue to improve myself? That person in the growth mindset space looks at challenges, faces them, and wants to understand, I failed. How can I overcome that failing experience and turn it around into something positive? So a growth mindset person is always looking at positive, forward thinking approaches to everything. And it's really about the mindset. How can I constantly improve? And over the period of time, I have looked at some research work, and I came across a while ago the work of a Stanford professor, and I'd like to talk a bit about that. So there's this professor called Professor Carol Dweck, and she talked about the power of yet. Okay, the power of yet. So in this case, what she had done, she became aware of a school in America where when the to graduate, the students needed to get a certain grade. And when they got below that grade, they got a grading system called not yet. Yes, they got a grading system that said not yet. It didn't say fail. So those that got beyond that threshold got a pass. And those that got below it got not yet. And I found that, like she did, very fascinating. Because what it said to me was that there's still a lot of opportunity to grow. It made the mindset of the children, of the teens, be one where they were constantly on the trajectory of growth, and they were not limited by the fact that they hadn't done as well. So it encouraged them, and they looked forward to even doing more. I then ask you the question, when you do not do well in a particular area, how quickly are you able to stand and get going? Do you allow the challenge of now, and as she describes it, is a tyranny of now? Do you allow the fact that you didn't do well in a particular situation now overpower your power to get into the yet? So it's very important that as we journey through life, as we go through challenges, we're looking more at that power of improving on our current skills and not dwelling on the challenge of the fact that we haven't done as well. And I realize that when we dwell more on the things that we haven't done well, it kind of limits us and pulls us down. I'm also aware that scientists have even gone further to do some research around the brain and how the brain functions. So on the other side of my slide, I have two sets of set of brains. The fixed mindset brain, you can see, is not busy, not challenged, just very docile, because that brain is not willing to challenge itself and is just comfortable with where he or she is at. On the other hand, the brain with a growth mindset is constantly, active, constantly looking for solving problems, looking for how to go come around challenges that he or she is faced with. So difficulties, efforts actually lead to us being better and smarter. And the results of this showed us that when you challenge the brain, there are actually some neurons that are injected, neurons in the brain that then come out that are quite active and then challenges the situation that we are faced with. And the research shows that the more those neurons are developed, the better we become and the more smarter we become. So the conclusion of that research and even professors' work was that as humans face challenges and move beyond the situations they are in and are able to challenge those challenges, you actually become smarter. So that's something. So, but when we do not challenge our brains remain docile. So efforts plus difficulties plus challenges actually make us smarter. And I would ask this question: how do we operate with our children? What's the kind of mindset in bringing up our children? What's the mindset we have in developing the people that we work with? Are we constantly looking for them to do the best, which isn't bad, but do we also consider the process of improvement, how they are working to ensure that they are better than their current situation? So we do not need to focus on the tyranny of now, what we can achieve. And I find out that a lot of us, especially we Nigerian parents, with our children, we are looking for them to become A students. And again, there's nothing wrong in wanting A students, but do we also reward the efforts? Are we encouraging them to even do better than what they have done to achieve? And after they have achieved those A's, is that the best they can achieve? And even for us too, After we become successful, is that the best we can achieve? Or can we continue to push ourselves even further? I would like us to think about it. And where do you think you fit in? Are you one person that avoids challenges, or you face challenges and see them as opportunities? And in my life, I have gone through a number of challenges. And I want to believe that I am a growth mindset person. But even in that space, there are some times where I slip back into being fixed because I think, you know what, this issue is too difficult. I'm okay where I am, you know. But immediately that happens, and when you go through those kind of experiences, you immediately talk to yourself. I do that a lot, and I tell myself, Bukola, Rookie, you need to improve. Get up and get going. And I see some of those challenges as opportunities. And I realize at the end of it that it actually has made me a better person. It's made me better in my outlook for life, of life. Are you that person that refuses to receive criticism or feedback? Or do you embrace constructive criticism? And I know that in the place of work, sometimes when we are criticized by either our peers or by our colleagues or our superiors, we find it a bit challenging. But how do you say it, especially when the criticism is constructive? A person with a good mindset takes the feedback, looks at it, and uses it to improve him or herself. Do you feel threatened by other people's successes? I hope not. I hope that we rather are inspired by other people's successes because we actually learn from each other. And I hope that as we learn, we take those learnings and we're able to use them to improve our lives. Are you one person that can't accept failures or mistakes? Sometimes I think that we are too hard on ourselves. We want perfection. We want perfection. But a fixed mindset person, you know, yes, wants to be perfect in every area, but a growth mindset person rather looks at those learning experiences, looks at failures as a learning experience. And I will pause and just share an experience here. You know, I remember when I was doing my professional exams many, many years ago, it was in a group, and a number of people, a learning group, a number of people in that group passed certain levels, and I failed that particular level. And I did it a number of times. It was one particular subject that I had a challenge with. You know, I did it, you know, when I failed it, I said to myself, Bukola, you can do it. And I tried. If I was of a fixed mindset, I would have abandoned it and said, you know what, this isn't for me. And a lot of times in life, we take those failures like that and say, look, especially those of us that are Christian, yeah, maybe God has said this is not my path, you know, and then you say you leave it and you go on to something else. But a growth mindset person looks at it and says, look, I can overcome this difficulty. It is a setback for now, but it will not remain a setback. Even in business, there are times when you've encountered setbacks and you just feel like giving up. A growth mindset tells you, get up at that point in time. So I remember back to that example that I was sharing. After I'd done it a couple of times, I finally passed it. And I used to tell my friends, I still do, that what that did to me, it made me a subject matter expert in that particular area. And I learned from my errors, and I became better. That is what a growth mindset is. And in every area of our life, we must take failures as stepping stones for improvement, stepping stones for better, stepping stones for improvements. Do we shy away from things that we are unfamiliar with? Comfort zone, you know. A growth mindset person steps away out of comfort zone and wants to push him or herself to improvement. And I remember again another example in taking the role that I am doing now as CEO of a bank. You know, it was when I remember that a lot of times in my previous life, as we would say, I would see and hear things and I would tell myself, I can do this. You know, I can be a CEO. I'm able to, I understand strategy, and I understand execution. I know how to do this. And I also have people skills, which are things that I feel, any leader should have. And I constantly would tell myself I could do it. So when this opportunity came, it was something that I grabbed because I knew I was ready for it. And I was looking for my next level. That is a good mindset. The fixed mindset, when the opportunity came, could possibly have said, you know what, I'm not quite sure I'm ready. And sometimes you've assessed your situation and you know you're not quite ready. But I realize that most of the time, most of us are ready. We're just afraid to step out of our comfort zone and take up those challenges, take up those opportunities and do it. Nobody is going to make those decisions for you. You have to make it for yourself. Do you believe in that talent is static? A growth mindset person believes that talent is ever improving. And that slide that I showed on the brain also shows that even if you feel that this is the best you can do now, as you step out to take up challenges, the neurons in your brain understands that and they take that opportunity and take that reading to mean that you're ready to move on to the next level. So I just want to encourage us wherever you are, and you can today think that, you know what, I'm in a fixed mindset mode. This whole thing tells me that you can actually progress from a fixed mindset to being a growth mindset by you just changing, the things that you do, your perception, the way you view things, and the thoughts that you have. And this then brings me to the next thing I would like to just talk about. And it's really around our dominant thoughts. Our brains, our minds are just so massive, and they are able to just, think through a lot of things. And you find out that your reality, your current situation, your now, is actually the product of your dominant thoughts. And I read from a book of a passage in the Bible. And for those of us that are not Christians, I'll just explain that a bit. And it tells us that a group of people were on earth at that point in time, and they were united. They were speaking one language, and they decided that they were going to build a bridge all the way up to heaven. And they actually started doing it. And in life, everything that is built really is built twice. The first is in your mind, again, the mindset. And then that mindset then brings it into your physical reality. And God actually saw that they were going to build that bridge. So he decided to cause confusion among them by giving them different language so that they couldn't understand themselves. But again, that was the power of a dominant thought. Their imagination was already building in their minds. And this reminds me again that your physical reality is always higher. When your physical reality is higher than the level of your mind or your thinking or your mindset, your body, your human body, your body starts to create behaviors until it gets to that mindset level. So, for instance, when you consider people that win the lottery, their mindset is still at maybe a poverty level, but their body has gone, their physical reality is that they've won that amount of money. They won maybe 100 million naira, but they spend it quickly because their mindset hasn't changed from that poverty level, and they've moved quickly physically to being poor again. And you can imagine when the reverse is the situation. When you have a growth mindset, even if your physical reality hasn't experienced that yet, your growth mindset gradually gravitates your physical reality to that set. So it's so important that the way we think, the way we view life, and the things that we do, that we are positive and we have a good mindset in all of that. And I remember also a lot of times, it's easy to sink into a confused state. It's easy to sink into a situation where you think, oh, you know what, these things aren't working well. But like I mentioned earlier, just talking to yourself and helping yourself out of that situation really helps. And I'd like to talk about a few individuals. There are many of them I can think of across the world, that have good mindsets. You might think, well, these people, no. But hey, when I look at a man called Thomas Edison, for instance, that's one man who did not accept failure. He took failure as a stepping stone, and we know about him. He tried to create the light bulb and tried over about 1,000 times and failed many times. If he had given up at that point in time, probably we will not have the bulbs the way they are today, or maybe somebody else would have been the one accredited with this success. But he continued at it. He continued at it. I find today in Nigeria that there are a crop of young people who are just blowing my mind out, especially in the tech space. Those people, for instance, the Paystack team, Shola and his team, are people that have strong growth mindset. They're not willing to take no for an answer. They are not willing to work with the tyranny of now, but constantly looking to improve themselves and see how can we continue to get better. You know, I look at Walt Disney, for instance. This is one person who we consider to be the creative genius of the 20th century. Was actually fired because they claimed that he lacked talent. And that for us now, benefit of insight, is very funny. But that was what he was. And because he was somebody who kept improving himself and found different ways of expressing his creativity. We all know the lady author on Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. You know, a number of her reflections were rejected. Her novels were rejected by many publishers. I told her books will never sell. But today we all know that Harry Potter has sold millions and millions of copies across the world. She's a very interesting character, by the way. Very, very interesting. She's now, again, creating some other wahala throughout the world now. Beethoven, we know him, classic music, you know. His composer actually told him, his teacher told him he was completely useless. He couldn't do anything, you know. And of course, Oprah Winfrey, we all know her story. You know, many challenges growing up, but has used those challenges as opportunities, you know, to become one of the most influential women across the world. So again, mindset. How do you perceive yourself? What are the things, the challenges that you're going through that you think you're the only one going through those things? No, a number of other people too are going through them. What differentiates you from the other person is what you do with those situations that you find yourself in. Again, growth mindset. And growing up, you know, I'm sure a number of us had different cartoon characters that we liked to listen to, cartoon characters that we watched. I love to watch Sesame Street, don't mind me. And I learned a number of things even growing up from those, and I'm sure we also did. So I'll pause now and just ask us to listen to a two-minute video thereabouts on mindset. Please play.
When you wanna do something that's new and it seems really, really hard to do, you feel like quitting, you feel you're through. Well, I have some advice for you: don't give up. Keep on trying, you're gonna make it. I ain't lying, don't give up. Don't ever quit. Try and you can do it. Don't give up. Yeah. If you want to catch a ball, but you're having no luck at all, the ball hits your head, it hits your nose, it hits your belly, your chin and toes. Well, try again. Keep on trying, and soon then you'll put your hands out in the air. You'll catch that ball, yes, this I swear. Don't give up. Keep on going, you're on a ball, so keep on going. Don't give up. Don't ever stop. Try, and you'll come out on top. Don't give up. You got yourself new roller skates. You put them on and you feel great. You stand up, but then you fall. Don't think you can skate at all. You get back up and then you trip. You skip and dip and slip and flip.
Yes. So the message to us today is no matter what it is, I hope you were able to connect to your childhood, even with that short video. Don't give up. We learned growing up not to give up, irrespective of the challenges that we are going through. I know that in Nigeria today, across the world, there are difficulties, but then we can improve, improve, and improve. So, how do we then build to the bridge to yet? How do we build the bridge to yet? So remember, we said the power of yet versus the tyranny of now. So we want to then build to yet. And I remember, I'm sure we all know the legend Muhammad Ali, who said, "Look, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." And indeed, Muhammad Ali was a champion. So one of the things we can do is praise wisely. We can reward efforts and not only results. So if for your children, reward effort. So we want them to be A students. We want them to improve, but there's a better way to get them to improve than, the way some of us go by it. And we can start by rewarding efforts, showing them the process of learning, the process of improvement, and that way we are activating those neurons in their brains. We can praise wisely in our workspace. And I dare ask you, as leaders, what kind of leader are you? Are you a leader who only wants the end results and is not considering the process to achieving those results? Are you a leader who considers your team failed because they did not achieve the 100% mark you had set for them? Are you a leader that encourages, that is empathetic? I want to believe that I am an empathetic leader. And I think it shows in the way I lead my team, even at FSDH. So we are constantly improving, constantly encouraging ourselves, and it shows in our numbers. It shows in our attrition levels. It shows in the community that we've built. And I believe that as we continue to encourage and reward process of improvement, our people's confidence even get better, and they are willing to challenge the status quo, willing to bring out more innovation, and willing to do better. I would encourage us to stay focused, face your fears. A number of us have fears, especially the fear of failure. I find out that a lot of very intelligent, smart people, that's one of their major undoings. They are too afraid to fail. But excuse me, failure is part of life. And again, it is not about the failing, it's about what you do with that failure, how you're able to then rise up at that point in time and then improve yourself. And I will repeat that over and over again. Face your fears, and deal with the issues, whatever those constraints might be, deal with them and move on. Do not allow those failing situations to define you. Very important. Be kind to yourself, and I've said it, treat those setbacks, treat them as learning opportunities, and you find out that you're improving. When you feel like giving up, and there are those times where we feel like giving up, no doubt, put your boots back on. Tell yourself you can do it, you can make it. Okay? Make marginal adjustments to your routines. Sometimes we think that we have to change everything at once. No. If you can, fine. But some of us can't do that. We just make, incremental improvements is what we go for. And I'll give you an example here. So you might be trying to improve in your recreation life. You might be trying to improve in your exercise regime. I know what I'm trying to improve on. So I find out that sometimes when I'm back home, not even back, sometimes I'm surfing the nets. I'm going through Instagram. I'm going through my WhatsApp. And I find out that I'm spending too much time sometimes when I could be reading the book, that I've committed to read. So one of the adjustments I've made over time is to say, look, spend less time on social media. Okay? So consciously and deliberately, when I see that I've spent maybe at the go an X time, I said, Bukola, you need to stop now and go and pick up that book. You know, I also know some other people who is, for them, it is their exercise regime. And they decide, you know what, I need to stop and go and do it. So marginal improvement. Adjust your routines and celebrate those successes. Eliminate self-doubts. And some of us think that we are not good enough. We are always, second guessing ourselves. Eliminate those doubts. And you just keep reassuring yourself that you are better and that you can continually be better. Come out of your comfort zone. I've said that and I will say that again. I would like to just speak a bit. I have a few more minutes to just talk about what I call the environment of scarcity. Again, sometimes and for a good mindset person, there's really no end point, no destination. You're always looking for the next thing to do, always looking for the next location, looking for the next idea. Your journey never really, really ends. You're constantly thinking of how you can get better. But your location can have a limiting influence on you sometimes if you allow it. And some of us will think that, for instance, Nigeria, the way things are not working, blah, blah, blah. Those of you in the UK, different countries, oh, this is not working well. But I dare say to you, and when I talked about the guys in the tech space, those are guys who are not allowing their location to limit them. Because if you have a mind of scarcity, a scarcity mentality, you will get scarcity results. But if you have a growth mindset behavior, even in an environment of scarcity, you can do very well. So you just need to constantly look at your environment and create those abundance and see the world, see Nigeria, see the UK, see America, see Canada, see wherever you are, not as the world wants it to be, but just the way you see it yourself, but the way it can be, and see those opportunities that are abound. I had a couple of Indian friends. I have a number of Indian friends, and a few years ago, one of them was telling me that on the streets of Lagos, I see gold. In Nigeria, all I see is opportunities. Meanwhile, we in our mindsets, because of the way we have been brought up or the way we have come to be, see the environment as an environment of scarcity. And those people that see it as abundance, have a growth mindset, constantly see the benefits and are able to take those opportunities that come. So if you do not change that mindset about your environment, that environment will change you. Many people, benefits of the growth mindset. And Nelson Mandela, again, is one person who I believe had that mindset. He had been locked up for many years, but still came out and decided that, look, I want to grow my people. I want to add value. What value are we adding in our various spheres of influence? Do we have that resistance to grow? Are we resilient? And I would just say to us that no matter what those challenges are, resilience through growth is very critical. Our ability to adapt and see those opportunities and always have a positive outlook to life. So in rounding up, I would ask you, what can you say about yourself? Or what do you say to yourself? I'm not good at this. Instead, why don't you say, what am I missing? I can be better. I'm awesome at this. Well, instead of just constantly praising ourselves, can we say, I'm on the right track? I will constantly look for other things to do better. Do you say, I give up? No, I choose to say, I will use some of these strategies that I've learned to constantly improve myself. Do you encourage your child to say, this is too hard? Rather, I would say, this will take some time and effort, but I will get at it and I will do it better. Does your child say, I can't do maths? Or rather, I will train my brain to make sure that I'm best at this. Not just in maths, but in any other area of my life. I made a mistake and you're beating yourself so hard. How does the world see me? I have done badly. Instead, you say, okay, I did make those mistakes, but I can then become better. How can I use those mistakes to become a better person? It's good enough. I don't need to push myself any further. Do you constantly ask yourself, is this really my best? Can I even do more? Plan A hasn't worked. My mindset is there are many more alphabets and I can continue to improve myself. On this note, I would just like to stop, and I hope that I have, in these few words, been able to help you understand that having a growth mindset will be something that each of us needs to imbibe so that we can continue to improve ourselves and those and the lives of those that are around us. Thank you very much for listening. Over to you, Benga. Benga.
Okay, I'm sorry. So towards the end, my network went off. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Ma. Good morning
My
once again,
pleasure.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. I mean, this is very mind blowing and this is very educative. And I mean, I have been jotting a lot, and I think I'll just take the bell the cat, if I'll use that, and ask the first question today. And that's relating to what you said about handling criticism. So the question I will handle criticism because this is a big thing. Criticism is a form of feedback, right? And what I've noticed over time is many times we do not take this mode of feedback lightly. For example, when we get feedback, most times we become very defensive, and I think that's the first thing I would like you to talk about, Ma. Because I recall how many times I've been criticized at work, giving feedback, and when I decided to be calm about it, first of all, yes, I felt so pained that I could defend myself on this matter. But later on, I realized the truth in criticism and I put it into use, and it has helped me and still helping me to better deliver at my task. So I would ask you, how do we handle criticism, constructive criticism, and even the non constructive ones? How do we properly filter out the trash and take on the good notes?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Genga, for that question. And I'm sure all of us go through that at different points in times in our life. I think that the human brain is wired in that way where immediately you get that criticism, but we all need to then step back, digest the information that we are receiving, think through it first before responding. I find out that when we are quick to respond, sometimes we miss out on a number of points that are raised. So I tend to just sit back first, and this is how I handle it. I sit back, you know, think through what I've heard, and then decide whether I need to respond or not. And I find out that just that 30 seconds of just listening to my mind, listening to myself, helps me digest the information that I've received. And I'm then better able to articulate my points. So there are times when I feel that what has been said doesn't really define me. I pack those aside. But there are a number of times where those criticisms I found have been positive. It gives me two things that I can do. I can either take that and say, okay, you know what, you've made a right point and I would improve or I would change it. But the second thing it does for me a lot of times, it enables me explain myself even a bit more. Sometimes it's because probably they didn't have clarity about what you said. And you then re-explain, not defending, but say just
Mm,
seeking clarification
mm,
and saying, this is actually what I meant, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I find that after I've done that, they're like, okay, we're on the same page. But sometimes you then find that some people then say, no, 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 I still think. And you take that in and you move on. There's really no point, in my view, arguing. I see somebody saying that, look, this is a problem with our young generation. Yes, but I also find that a number of us adults tend to criticize overtly the younger generation. And they are already in a defensive mood because they expect to be criticized. But when they find out that you're ready to listen to them, I find in my work with them that they're a lot more engaging. So for us adults, we also need to relook the way we respond to the younger generation. Give them a
Absolutely.
chance and an opportunity to actually air their minds and listen to their
Mm,
perspective. You find out that a number of them actually have a lot to say, but we don't sometimes give them a chance. So give them a chance to air encourage them to speak, encourage them to explain what they are saying. If there is no clarity, go back and ask them to say, look, can you please explain further? And I find that when I do that, I actually get them on my side. And I would encourage you to do that too. Okay. Yes, Binga. I can't hear you, Binga. Okay, I can't hear Binga. I don't know if anyone can hear me. Okay, okay, great. So it looks like I can be heard. So I will just respond to some of the questions that I see scrolling. Okay. Somebody says, what do you think is the major or fundamental challenge of having the right mindset, especially the young youth generation? Hmm. I said earlier on, I think that some of the challenges is because of the way we have brought them up. They've been used to hearing us criticizing them all the time, and it just creates a blockage for them. I remember even when I use myself as an example, growing up, my mom and I were not chummy, chummy, chummy because I felt she was always criticizing me. It was later in life I understood that those criticisms were actually for my good. But it took a while for me to understand that. And of course, she became one of my best friends, you know. So, but, it is really around that. So, helping them understand and being a bit more careful in the way we explain things to them actually helps them to be better. And so I think that if we tweak, remember, just adjust a little bit, find out from them how they would like to be conversed with. I'm not saying take everything they say hook, line, sinker, no. But we can also adjust in some of the ways in which we approach them. What advice would you give to someone who wants to cultivate a growth mindset but doesn't know how to start or where to start? Okay, lovely. I love that question. I think that for me, it starts from your mind. So I said earlier on that I speak to myself. So I talk to myself, and you're not lunatic. You're just encouraging yourself. So starting point is really around your mind and how you are perceiving yourself. The next thing I will say you need to do is also need to improve your skills in whatever areas. Just educate yourself, pick up more books. What do you spend your time doing? Are those things adding value to you? Um, Decide you want to read a book. I was reading about a guy who decided he wanted to climb as many mountains, physical mountains across the world, and he actually achieved it because he told himself he could do it. He started practicing, he started reading about people that had done it in time past. He started doing things. I also read about a guy who decided that I want to change some other things about myself. I want to learn how to knit, you know. And he started practicing. So you have to take a first step first by way of even doing something. So the first thing you need to do is take a step, a bold step, and start doing something. And that's how you then have a good mindset. Encourage yourself. When you feel like giving up, when you feel lazy about it, is actually the time you should get up and get going. Very important. So that's how you start it. There's no hard or fast rule around it. Speak to yourself, start it, and get moving. What do you think the major challenge? Okay, I think I've answered this one, of the human minds of the young people. We need to just continue to invest in them, encourage them. They're in a different world of their own. And I think that if we try and get into their world without diluting too much of the positives about us, we'll be able to connect to the younger ones a lot better. Okay. Okay, I hear there are questions in the chat box. Let me try and see if I can get them. Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so yes. So are resources actually scarce? Interesting. A balance to be created between what economic theory says and what God said about what every man that will ever live will need has already been put here on earth. Okay, so by background, I'm an economist. So we believe that factors of production, for instance, are scarce. So resources, land, labor, capital productivity are not endless. So they are scarce. Okay, but there's enough in the world for us. So I know it sounds. So I hear it from a Christian from a religious perspective. You have everything available for you. So whatever your faith is, it is there available for you. So those that want to be limited by economic theory, we would say to you today that you create those limits yourself. So yes, you need all the money in the world. You don't have all the money in the world. You don't need all the money in the world, but you can do a lot with what you have, and you can create a lot of wealth. So we can argue it from any point of view, but I personally believe that we have enough of resources in our space that we can use to achieve all the things that we set out to achieve in life. Okay. Yeah. So that's how I would put that. Is it possible to always have the right mindset, and how can that be achieved? I personally, my view is that you being constantly in a state of mindset of right mindset might be a bit challenging, being in that state all the time. But again, in life, you straddle different challenges and you straddle different sets of minds, as it were. So there might be times when you have fallen into a fixed mindset framework or frame of mind. The ability to move yourself quickly out of that still keeps you in that growth mindset space. So the fact that you're not constantly bubbling with ideas doesn't mean you have moved into the fixed mindset community, but it just means that there's something at that point in time that you need to work on, and you're still in that growth mindset space, but you need to work on certain things. So if, for instance, you had a challenge, you had a failure, a failing situation, and you had beat yourself badly, and you were down, and you stayed in that space for a bit, you're able to, no matter how long you stayed in that, when you then suddenly realize that I need to get out of this stage, is that mindset, positive mindset that has kicked off at that point in time. So you're straddling between, but I'm hoping that most of the time, as we stay in that growth mindset phase, that we have less experiences with the other side. But the ability to quickly move ourselves from that side over to the right side, I think is also very positive. Again, I will say that there are some positives within that mindset. So the instance around pushing yourself, considering that, okay, I've done well. It's okay to celebrate yourself, but quickly move away from there and look for the next possibility that you probably haven't been able to achieve yet. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure. I don't know if I've missed any other question. Okay. Quick means to make money seem like growth. Word. And sometimes passing the shortcut gets results. How does passing the process to building capacity complements the reward mindset. So I have three things in life, and I call them the air of life. So accountability, integrity, and resilience. So I think we've spoken about resilience a bit, us just being, but we must be accountable and we must hold on to integrity at every point in time. I like to think that I'm a person of integrity. So shortcuts is never the answer. And I know that in our society today, we celebrate bad things. We celebrate people that have stolen wealth. We celebrate people that have, looked for shortcuts to make money. But I personally think that those shortcuts are, like they say, shortcuts. And in the long run, they will haunt us. They will haunt us, in life, whatever it is. But even if you have gone through those shortcut ways, you can improve and go through the other ways. But shortcut, in my view, is never the answer. So we must continue to see how we are learning, relearning, upskilling, and doing things the right way, and remain people of integrity. So for me, air of life, accountability, integrity, resilience are my watchwords. And those are the things that I abide by in everything that I do in life. And I want to encourage us to also look at it that way. In the long run, it pays. It has paid in my life. I've seen it. I used to be a treasurer of a bank, of two banks actually, and there were shortcuts I could have taken to make money. And people did say to me that try these things now. But I chose to go the straight and narrow way, and I think it has paid off. I might not be the wealthiest of all people financially, but in terms of peace, joy, and I think a soundness of mind, I am wealthy. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so I think we've gone through all the questions.
Yes.
Thank you for your time. I have enjoyed this, and I hope you have also enjoyed it too. And I do hope that you have taken some learnings that you can apply in your personal lives and also with the people that you have been blessed with in your various communities. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very
Carrie.
much, Mrs. Smith. I'm here. It's been an awesome and exciting time with you this morning, this past 1 hour or so. I also want to appreciate your resources, your time, your voice, your intellectual capacity, your support that you've given thus far, even in preparing for today's session. God bless you real good. I also want to thank the team backstage that have been working tirelessly to make sure that this happens, especially the Arrow team, Bemiga, Diakolola, Tosin, Toby, Gilda, Drodolua, and the rest of them that have actually been supporting the Trustees of True Riches cause. God bless you richly. And my gratitude also goes to my colleagues, the trustees and the fellows of True Riches. God bless you immensely. Our utmost gratitude goes to God Almighty for the success of today's session once again, and we thank Him for all resources made available. In closing, I've learned a lot today. There's no limit to what this can bring to human life. I believe that this will continue to expand in our hearts and in our lives as we go on this journey in future. Just few announcements. We have the Euro to Euro session next month, May, and then the Euro to Euro session in June. And then the final do, just wait and see what will happen in July from the Trustees of True Riches platform. You'll be informed in due course, but just stay tuned to this channel and some of the other channels of the Trustees of True Riches, and you will see, you will know what is happening in the month of July. Once again, thank you everybody for joining, for participating in today's session and discourse. God bless you abundantly, and do have a beautiful weekend and future ahead. Thank you.